In a special report, 10 News reporter Allison Wickline shows us how a new statewide study is shedding some light on the problems and possible solutions.
Crash after crash, backups for miles. It's the reality many drivers face traveling Interstate 81.
It's just a lot of traffic, really backs up in a heartbeat.
There's a lot of congestion on the interstate no matter what time of the day.
I-81 is the longest interstate in Virginia at 325 miles, and it has issues. We rode along with law enforcement to see what barriers they face trying to keep the roads safe.
You can see like here, the shoulder, it's not very wide if you can imagine two vehicles stopped. There's very little room for error.
Sergeant Michael Mavrides has served in the Roanoke County area for 5 years. He says in that span of time, he has seen crashes on the 81 corridor increase. Between January 1st and November 1st of this year, there have been 236 reportable crashes on the stretch covering Roanoke County and the city of Salem. That accounts for 56 injuries and 3 deaths. Not only is the 81 corridor crash prone,
just the amount of traffic, sometimes it's hard to catch up to a violator's vehicle because of the amount of traffic.
So what are the main interstate issues and how do we fix them? That's what a new study from VDOT and Virginia's Transportation Secretary found. Unlike other interstates where rush hour traffic is the main culprit, 81's issues include
safety, congestion, reliability are really the factors kind of driving this process.
Here are some solutions. First, changeable message signs and cameras to better emergency clearance equipment and detour route improvements. Second, helping semi-trucks find more parking along the highway. The estimated cost, $40 million. Then we move to capital improvements. The study suggests a package of about $2 billion. The Salem district would get $882 million of that. Recommended improvements range from extending acceleration and deceleration lanes, curve improvements, and the largest undertaking, adding a lane between Christiansburg and Roanoke. But how do we pay for it? The statewide study focused on 2 possible funding options: taxes and tolls. Increasing the sales and fuel taxes along the corridor are one thought. Tolls on frequent 81 travelers in regular cars and commercial vehicles is another. The idea of tolls for tractor trailers does not sit well with Dale Bennett, president and CEO of the Virginia Trucking Association.
Trucking companies cannot afford to absorb that toll, and we in turn will be forced to have to pass it along. So in essence, it's going to end up having an impact on the price of goods that we use every day.
81 is one of the top trucking routes in the U.S., a main link between southern economic hubs and northeast markets.
I-81 is a critical economic corridor for this region and for the Commonwealth.
Valentine says economic impact did play a part in the study. VDOT believes that $2 billion improvement package will generate almost $3.5 billion in additional output, like jobs and retail and hotel revenue. Still, adding a toll to 81 is a touchy subject.
Tolls, no. I'm not a fan of tolls.
Once finalized, the study will be presented to the General Assembly when the session begins next year. Allison Wickline, 10 News, working for you.
I did, and it was an amazing ride. I can tell you the Star City really came together to celebrate this historic event. Today there was a ribbon cutting, and from that to just the train ride itself, it was really an experience unlike any other.
Amtrak is officially in Roanoke. On Monday, local and state officials as well as community members turned out to witness Amtrak's inaugural run into the city. The train trip began in Lynchburg, where Lieutenant Governor and gubernatorial candidate Ralph Northam made a stop. Then the train headed west to Roanoke.
This is an absolutely incredible day and experience. Just being able to sit with your friends, to leisurely travel, to have refreshments. This is the way to travel.
Amtrak train rides in and out of Roanoke began on Tuesday, marking the return of passenger rail service to the Star City for the first time since 1979. Monday was a historic moment for the city, and there was plenty of excitement in the air as the train pulled into the platform to cheers and a crowd of supporters.
So after 38 years of no passenger service, let me assure you that Amtrak could not be more excited to work with Virginia and Norfolk Southern to bring service back to this town.
The economic impact of Amtrak's entrance into Roanoke is predicted to be pretty impressive. With trains cycling back and forth from Washington, D.C., New York, and Boston, officials say Roanoke area businesses should be prepared for a boost.
This is not just about putting people on trains, but it's about improving our quality of life and the economy.
Lane credits the McAuliffe administration, the Department of Rail and Public Transportation, and other state and local agencies with helping make this new service a reality. And on Tuesday morning, when Amtrak Northeast Regional Train 176 blows its horn and departs from Roanoke, all the hard work will be worth it.
For information about trips and tickets, you can visit our website, WSLS.com. Live in Roanoke, Allison Wickline, 10 News, working for you. For the past couple years, the city of Salem has been cracking down on delinquent taxes, and that money is helping pay for capital improvements like new fire trucks.
This is the Salem Fire Department's newest engine. It's got all the bells and whistles, replacing a truck that was in service for 24 years.
It helps our firefighters do their job safer and much faster, and it ultimately provides for a higher degree of life safety.
The shiny new Lifesaver carries a hefty price tag, close to $600,000. The fire engine found its new home with funds from delinquent tax collections.
It's incredibly important that everybody pay their fair share. They contribute to the operations of the city and the community itself.
A couple years ago, the city was looking at sources of revenue and found plenty of delinquent taxes that could be collected.
We created a team to begin to identify and tackle the folks who are the most delinquent and the highest dollar amounts first, and we bit off chunks at a time, just trying to collect those past due taxes.
And the team, with the help of local law enforcement, searched everywhere.
When we look at the delinquent taxes, it does kind of cross the board. It could be meals tax, lodging tax, property tax.
To date, Salem has made about $1.5 million of delinquent collections, with that money going to this new engine, a ladder truck back in 2016, and other smaller capital improvements. A city finding funding led by a team ready to collect.
While the city's effort to collect delinquent taxes started a couple years ago, officials say they are still working to keep that going into the future. In Salem, Allison Wickline, 10 News, working for you.
Lewis Sanders is making his bed. He's under a bridge in Roanoke, and it's 20 degrees outside and dropping.
I'm speaking for all the homeless, not only me. It's rough out here.
Tonight, Lewis had help making his bed. One of the comforters came from Don Sandoval and the Least of These Ministry, a group that works to spread its love of Christ by hitting the streets, armed with comforters, sleeping bags, gloves, and gift cards.
You're welcome. Our hope is that they will see Christ in us and what we're doing, and that, it'll bring them a little bit of comfort knowing that somebody cares.
Just about every night, someone from the ministry is out and about looking for homeless people in need of help. They stop in high traffic areas like here in downtown and more hidden areas like under bridges.
There are people who suffer with social anxiety, with mental health issues that won't allow them to go into a shelter environment. So they choose to stay outside, even as dangerous as it is with these low temperatures.
The Least of These ministry began in 2011 when Dawn says she and her husband were called to serve. The ministry runs completely on donations and community support. Dawn says so far Roanoke has been amazingly generous. She hopes the giving continues so the ministry can grow.
It has been beyond humbling the way that Roanoke Valley and even people outside of Roanoke has stepped up and seen value in what we do and supported our ministry.
Dozens of sleeping bags and other cold weather supplies have been handed out in the past couple weeks. And tomorrow night, as darkness hits and the temperatures go back down, Dawn and her team will again hit the streets to help the least of these.
This ministry really helps. The sleeping bag kept me warm, and she's a really nice lady.
A ministry asking for no recognition, simply wanting to meet needs.
God bless you.
In Roanoke, Allison Wickline, 10 News, working for you. The truck industry is taking stock of an alarming trend. According to an American Trucking Association study, over the next decade, the trucking industry will need to hire roughly 900,000 new drivers to keep up with demand.
Without drivers, frankly, all companies and our economy would come to a stop.
David Snyder is the safety director at Lawrence Companies in the Roanoke Valley. He is also a former truck driver. He says the nationwide shortage has really started to hit home here recently. The CEO of Lawrence Companies agrees.
It's been bad over the last couple years, but just in the last few months, it's gotten much worse.
Segelke says negative perceptions of the job, along with the longer hours, have hurt hiring. The fear is that consumers will take a hit too.
70% of all goods in the U.S. go on trucks. Most of the goods we consume are on those trucks, and a big part of the cost is the transportation. So goods are going to go up.
Efforts are underway nationwide to highlight the benefits of being a truck driver. More independence, more money, and less time out on the roads.
The industry is hoping an improved perception of what it means to be a truck driver, as well as higher salaries, will encourage more young people to try it out.
You have a lot more drivers that are home every evening, so it seems more like a regular job. Also, the compensation's increased significantly.
For now, the industry will keep hoping that something clicks. In Roanoke, Allison Wickline, 10 News, working for you.